Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 3:02 a.m. on this freezing Friday evening going into Saturday morning. It is currently 35 degrees outside. It's really, really cold. It's been cold all day today and windy, and it kind of was almost like, it seemed like it was spitting snow. I was hoping, I was like, please snow, please snow. I know I'm probably the only one that wants to snow, but it didn't really do a whole lot of anything. It was just kind of like spitting some precipitation. I don't even know if it was rain or snow, or probably given Indiana, it was drizzle. So let's see how my day was today. I woke up and I was really struggling when I woke up this morning. Well, first of all, I couldn't sleep this morning because the light, like the sunlight, was just like shining right in our bedroom. And our bedroom gets so bright that after Alex went to work, I'm like trying to put this, it was so, oh my God, it was so embarrassing. I was trying to put this like dark sheet up over the window so I could get a little bit of like darkness in the room. And I was getting so frustrated because I just couldn't get it up there to stay. And I'm texting Alex, like sending in pictures of it. And he was like, I'm gonna order new blinds when I come home tonight, which he didn't end up doing, but we're gonna order some blinds this weekend because I've got to have some blackout blinds for that bedroom or something. Because what happens is, like, in the morning before I get up, because I usually get up, about noon, like I wake up like every hour on the hour because it's so bright in there. And so I'm just not getting great sleep. Not to mention I go to sleep at like 10 or 11 and then get up in the middle of the night and then vlog, which I'm like used to. Like that doesn't bother me. And I've kind of like always been such a night owl and, whatever. And so I typically go to bed now like when Alex does, and then I get up, after a couple hours and I vlog and I listen to an audiobook or whatever. So last night I couldn't like really focus on listening to an audiobook. So I watched 2 episodes of Wentworth, and I actually have 2 episodes left, and so I think I'm gonna probably watch those when I get done vlogging tonight, and then I'm done with the season. It's so good. This last season is so good. But I didn't sleep very well, and I woke up, and I wouldn't say that I was like irritable when I woke up. I just think, it's not all of the, it just, I talked last night about my sponsor passing away, and that there's been several people that I've known that have passed away in the last week. It's not just that, all of that was on top of me already, like being down about Tucker and trying to be hopeful, trying to be really, really hopeful. But like I've had other stuff that's happened in my life, some things with like friends of mine that are in recovery that like just, they're really struggling. And, there's just a lot, always other stuff, and so it's just, I've been really trying to put one foot in front of the other, just keep on trucking, And I'm such a believer in that, and I talked about that in my Peterisms video today, and I talked about it in this Peter Does Stuff video today, and I'm not gonna, belabor the point, but it was interesting because I was watching Wentworth last night, and there was this whole part in there about the therapist that works there at Wentworth, and there's a part when somebody like hurts himself, and they're like asking him why it happened, and he says like PTSD, which I'm not like struggling from any PTSD right now. I'm just struggling from an overabundance of emotional response to stuff that's going on in my life, I think. So anyway, this guy, he kind of compares it to like when you have a faucet that's slowly dripping into like a glass, and then suddenly like it overflows, like it can't take any more, you know? And I kind of like felt like that's how I felt this morning when I woke up. I just was like, you know, I'm somebody that vents a lot, calls my sponsor, Tanya and I vent, Alex and I vent to each other. And usually like when I'm done venting, and I don't mean venting like anger, I mean just getting out like what's going on with me. You know, early in sobriety, I talked about this in my Peter Does Stuff video. You know, I was really taught to like live out loud, and you know, there's a saying called to tell on yourself, and that means just to tell where you're at, like to, you know, not be like everything's fine, I'm okay, but to like be really honest and just be like, hey, like I'm not doing okay today, like I'm really struggling. And usually when I do that, like I tend to be okay in life, right? Like even though sad, tough stuff is going on, I tend to be able to manage it okay. And I've been doing that, and I've been talking a lot about what's going on, and I've been listening to a lot of really sad music and allowing myself to cry and just feel my emotions, and also, you know, laugh and remember the good times about the people that I've lost. And, you know, at the same time, and I've been like really enjoying being like with Tucker and Boo, and like, you know, letting them run around extra in the yard, even though it's freezing outside, and all this kind of stuff, you know. And they've been so silly and fun around the house while I'm making videos. And, you know, Tucker was rolling around in his bed downstairs, and so I like sat there and just like watched him for like 15 minutes just roll around constantly. You know, I've just like really been present. But I don't know, like I woke up today and I just was really sad. I was like really sad today when I woke up. And I think part of it is, I have 2 coffees in here, you guys. I have this coffee that I got earlier when Tanya and I went to the gas station. It's French vanilla. But not like one of those cappuccinos, just like French vanilla flavored coffee. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's the best. And I like the Get Go coffee because they have like those machines, you know, where you like push what size you got and then it goes and it does it yourself. And then I also just made some of that community coffee, that King's Cake. I want to call it King's Crab, I don't know why. But King's Cake. I think I remember it being kind of spicy the last time I tried it. Like cinnamony. But anyway, so oh, that's good. Because I wanted a hot cup of coffee. I have been drinking so much coffee lately. It's unbelievable. I mean, like, I'm, like, not like an over amount of coffee, but like more than I usually drink, because I've been drinking hot coffee lately. So I've been also like, even though I go and get it during the day sometimes, like today I didn't even leave the house until I went and got dinner tonight, which I totally was just like in my feelings, and I was like, I just want to eat something, feel good tonight, and I got Panda Express. I'm like completely obsessed with Panda Express right now. I need to get over it. I get their chow mein, their fried rice, because those are both vegetarian, and then I get the veggie spring rolls, and then I get the cream cheese rangoons. I usually get a Coke because I like Coke with Chinese food, but today I got a Dr. Pepper. And I sat there and I watched the Snatch Game episode on RuPaul's Drag Race UK, this current season. But anyway, I woke up today and it's just so dark and dreary outside, you know? And given any year that I'm like in a really positive mood and like a lot of stuff hasn't really like got me down or whatever, I'm usually, like, it feels like every year it's just a little bit more, it's like this building snowball, you know, that it affects me a little bit more. And I can remember when I was younger, my mom talking about like seasonal affect disorder, and I was like, Mom, I don't even, what did we call it when I was younger? I can't remember, but it had a different name to it. And I was like, Mom, I don't even know that I believe in that. She's like, well, you will believe in it when you get older because it takes a different toll on you. And you know, like, even when like I wake up and it's like real sunny out, so like it's bright, it's like still bright between clouds. And you know, honest to God, between like October and really like late September, early October, and like March in Indiana, most days are like this. I mean, full cloud coverage, windy, and you know, it's a good day for like sitting inside and being cozy and all that kind of stuff. But when you find yourself like driving and stuck in traffic or, you know, whatever, it's just like, it kind of like takes a toll on you after a while. And I woke up today, Tanya and I were just talking about this, like, she was talking about like every day that she woke up in Florida, she was in such a great mood. And I really believe that, you know, like, it's such a double-edged sword for me, because I think if I was like in Florida or Arizona or somewhere where you wake up and it's like hot, you know, and warm and sunny, even if it's raining, it's like, you know, I don't know, it's a different feel. And maybe I'm wrong about that, I don't know, but I feel like it's different when I'm like somewhere where it's sunny, you know. So I woke up and I just was kind of like, I had this attitude of like, I don't want to do anything today. And I very, very rarely have that attitude. Like, I just don't. And I think that most people that have watched this for any period of time know that kind of like, I kind of like the weather, you know? That's what I was going to say is a double-edged sword. It's like, there's that, but like, then I like this weather when it's about Halloween. I like this weather when it comes, if it's snowy, you know, and stuff, when it comes to like Christmas or Thanksgiving, you know, putting on like flannels and nice sweaters and, you know, being with the family around a fireplace, playing games. Like, I like all that, right? But just day in and day out, like getting up, it's hard, you know? And usually it doesn't affect me this much. But I just think where it's like, and also I'm kind of like, what's going to be the next news that I get? Like, I feel like I've just got, like, it's been like hit after hit after hit, that I think my head at this point is kind of programmed, like, if I'm going to get some more bad news about somebody passing or somebody being sick or something, can it like just happen now? Like, I can't like continue to do this over 2 to 3 months, right? Which I know is kind of like a really backwards way of looking at it, but it's been a lot. And, you know, it's like I find something out and then I process it for a day or two, and then I kind of am like slowly moving through the pain, and it's like, boom, something else happens. And that's how I have felt, right? With, at the same time, the lingering fear of Tucker has been there the whole time as well. So it's just been kind of hard, and I've been struggling. So I woke up today and I was like, I don't want to do anything today. And I have to tell you guys, like, I almost never feel that way. Like, I almost never feel that way. Like, I don't want to do anything. Like, I really don't ever have that attitude. And I hadn't filmed any videos yesterday. And I was like, except for the vlog, and I was like, I'm not gonna not film videos again. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, for me, you know, I'm such a believer in like getting up and kind of like pushing through a little bit, you know? And even if I don't feel like it, like putting on, you know, getting dressed for the day, making a cup of coffee, like acting as if, you know. And usually, I don't know why this bean, I need to get a new beanbag. But usually, my day kind of eventually, like I catch up with my day, if that makes sense. And I did today, like you know, eventually, around the time that I got all my videos posted and I was going to get Panda Express. It was really dark really early. That's the other thing. And I don't mind that. You know, I don't mind the night. I actually do better at night than I do during the day. And, but it was like around that time, it was like 6:30 that I started, starting to kind of come out of it a little bit. And so I went and got Panda Express, and I came back and ate it, and I sat there and watched an entire episode of RuPaul's Drag Race, which that kind of helped too. And then Tanya texted me. Well, she texted me like right as I got home. She was like, Fountain. And I was like, well, I just got my food. Can we do that in a little while? And so she was like, yeah, sure. So she was finishing watching something. And so I texted her when I was done, and then I went and picked her up and took her to, it's like right now it just started like raining or something. So I took her to go get a fountain pop, and then I got this cup of coffee, which I of course have to show to you, like show and tell. And it's so funny. You know, I always have these memories of show and tell when I was like in kindergarten, which is so weird. I sometimes like as I've just in the last couple years, like I haven't been able to remember things as much as I used to, but I still remember things pretty clearly, or I'll have like glimpses of like really strong memories. And I remember like show and tell being like a really big deal to me. Like I remember just being kind of like obsessed with finding the right thing to take to show and tell. Like I just think that's so weird that I still have that memory, you know? I mean, what was I, 5 at the time or 6? I mean, 43 years later, you still remember show and tell from kindergarten. And I remember there was this girl, and I remember her name was Stacy. I think her dad played for the Pacers, actually. I don't know why I know that piece, but the Indianapolis, the Indiana Pacers, the basketball team. But she had 2 things that I wanted so bad. It was either, okay, she had like this Cher Barbie doll, and I was like, oh my God, I was like obsessed with it. It had real long hair. And then she had one of those like half heads, right? You know what I'm talking about? That had like the shoulders, so you could do their hair and makeup. And there was a Farrah Fawcett one. For some reason, I feel like she had a Cher one of those too. It was either Cher or Farrah Fawcett, I can't remember. But I always wanted one of those. And you know, like my parents were so good. Like they bought me everything that I want. I mean, not everything like for Christmas, but like the things what I meant to say was they bought me the things that like, I think, you know, that whole conversation of like, well, he's a boy, you shouldn't buy that for him. My parents could care less about that stuff. Cabbage Patch dolls, Easy Bake Ovens, other kinds of dolls, things like that. My parents, they got me. They didn't have an issue with that at all. I will tell you what was funny about my mom was she used to say, it'll just make you a really great dad someday, which is, you know, funny in retrospect. She was like, you know, my obsession with having a doll was always about that. But I remember the teacher was so nice, and she would talk to this Stacy girl, and then when like the kids were taking a nap and stuff, the teacher would let me play with the Cher doll and that half head when she would bring that in there. And that's such a weird memory. I don't know, maybe it was like one of my first moments of kindness that I had, that the teacher was like, because see, like at home I wasn't taught that those things were different, right? But my mom did draw the line with that head with the Farrah Fawcett hair. I don't know why. Like she was like, no, you don't need that. I don't know what that issue was about. Or maybe it was just a Christmas where it asked for a lot of things. I don't know. But I didn't ever get that. And I think in retrospect it's funny because I probably could have been like a hairstylist or makeup artist that made a lot of money. My mom missed out, I guess. But anyway, because like my mom never had issues with like, you know, it's so funny when I watch these like makeup guys and they tell their stories, and their dads are like they were just talking about this on RuPaul's Drag Race tonight, that their moms and dads like had a lot of issues with them wearing makeup and stuff like that. My mom never had issues. Neither my mom nor my dad ever had issues with stuff like that. Like when I would do like mascara or eyeliner in high school, like they could care less. You know, like I would play dress up and do, you know, eyeshadow and lipstick and stuff when I was a kid, and my mom could care less. She didn't, I mean, she was never worried about that stuff. And if you ask my dad's like, well, I mean, I feel like I always knew that you'd probably be gay, and I just think he thinks all of that stuff is in there, which is like so stereotypical, but, you know, I think for me it ended up being true, so. But anyway, yeah, I just didn't feel like I wanted to do anything today. And so I pushed through and I was like, okay, what videos am I going to make? You know, sit down, blah, 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 whatever. And I really wanted to open this bark box because I wanted to see what was in it for Thanksgiving for the dogs. But I knew that like those videos never do, like nobody seems to be they never do very well. Nobody seems very interested in the bark boxes, you know. Which is whatever. I don't know that I would be interested. I mean, I think that's the kind of videos that I actually enjoy watching. So, yeah. What was I thinking? Okay, so I went to do that. Then Tanya and I drove around, and right when I picked up Tanya, I feel like I hear water or something. I feel like I hear water. But anyway, right as I was picking up Tanya, she was like coming out and she was like reading something on her phone, and she had just been sent the obituary from my sponsor. So, which I guess he wrote himself before he passed, because he was in hospice. It's like this really long obituary. So there's like a celebration for life this weekend, and then there's like a very private religious like burial and funeral mass. I'm not gonna go to that, but I am gonna go to the celebration of life. Tanya and I are gonna go together. I thought like Alex would I would probably go with Alex, and Tanya would probably go with Eric, because they both knew him rather well. But like Alex had something else that he already made a commitment to, and Tanya's husband did as well. And so then when I talked to Tanya tonight, I said, you know, like, we were talking about it, and she's like, well, this is mostly like recovery people, I think, that are going to this thing this weekend. So then Alex was like, if you need me to cancel, I was like, babe, not worry about it, because this is mostly, I guess all like, I mean, it's open to other people, but it's mostly like recovery people. So, and Alex has just been so sweet this last week with just all of this, and I think he knows, because like one of the things I do, like when I'm kind of like going through like a sad spot, you know, it's like people always say to me, they're like, you're so positive, Peter, you're so inspirational, you're so motivated. And I mean, that just means so much to me. It really, really does. But I think this is the lesson that I want people to take from that is, it's not like natural. Like, I don't wake up every day and I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, that's just, there are days that I do. There are days that like my feet hit the ground and I'm like just in the greatest mood ever, right? There's a lot of days like that. But there are days that it's work too, you know? There are days that I have to like pull out my tools in my toolbox, and, you know, and we all have different tools, whatever that is, you know? And for me, it is doing gratitude lists, doing meditations, pushing myself through the pain, and doing those things that I feel blessed that I get to do on a daily basis, like make videos, like watch TV shows, or listen to audiobooks, and talk to my friends on the phone. You know, those are things, or spend time with my dog, spend time with Alex. Like, those are things to me that all like really mean a lot. And so it makes me appreciate my life more. And when I look at all of that, I'm looking right at it. It's hard for me to like feel super sorry for myself, or be like, I want to waste one more moment. Like, I just don't, you know? And I think that's probably that feeling sorry for myself part is probably like one of the biggest things I've ever learned, you know, is that very early in sobriety, I can't remember like who said it to me, but I was like feeling sorry for myself, you know, and there was like a saying in recovery, and it's like, pour me another drink. And I was feeling real sorry for myself over something that was just like, hey, if that's as bad as it gets, you've got, like Tanya Jean always says, if that's as bad as it gets, you're having a pretty good day, right? And I was feeling real sorry for myself about something, and it wasn't the last time in my life that I've done that, you know? And I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was a sponsor or whoever I was working with, but somebody that day said to me, man, you know, there are like 100 million people that have it worse than you do. And like at any given time, there's always going to be somebody that has it better than you, and there's always going to be a lot of people that have it a lot worse than you. And I think that's one of the things that has just kind of kept me going through stuff, you know, is it's like, yeah, this is like with my mom, I can remember, because I had just had friends who had lost parents in very tragic manners, like within the last 2 to 3 years, you know, several friends. And so I sat there and I thought, yeah, this is sad. I lost my mom, but like, I got to have last conversation with her. I got to be there when she passed. That was such a privilege. It was such an honor to be there, you know, and to make all the plans single-handedly. I didn't have to argue with family members. I didn't, you know, any of that kind of stuff. It was me. I got to make those decisions alone. And my aunt was like, hey, you know, whatever you want to do for your mom, you know. I got to speak at my mom's funeral. That was all such like an honor and a privilege, right? So I got to speak at my, you know, aunt's funeral, which was an honor and a privilege, and be the first person there after Caroline when she passed, you know. I've had a lot of those moments in my life, and there are people that like, and so I look at that and I think, yeah, it's been really sad, but it could have been like so much worse. You know, I remember when Caroline called me over right after my aunt passed away, and I walked in, and I was literally the next person that came into the house after Caroline because the hospice people had just left. And I remember walking into my aunt's bedroom, and my aunt, like, just... my aunt was very Martha Stewartish in a way, but I personally think she had better taste, honestly. And just, like, everything from, like, I mean, she had the most beautiful bed, you know, white... you know, bedding, and just, you know, lace eyelet pillows, and she had beautiful draperies in her windows, and her window looked over this lake, and just, it was beautiful, right? And I can remember I was standing out in the living room, and Caroline said, do you want to come in and, like, you know, see her? And that question always scares me, because it goes back to when my grandma passed away when I was, you know, in middle school, and I didn't. But then I ended up seeing her, and I was okay, so I don't know. But, and Caroline said, Peter, she just looks like she's asleep, honestly. And I remember I went in there, and, like, the hospice workers had come in, and they had put her in, like, her pajamas and her robe. And she just wanted to be home, is what she said. Like, she didn't want to be in the hospital anymore. She just wanted to be home. And the hospice workers told Caroline that this happens so often that, like, right after somebody gets home when they've been, you know, whatever, that, like, they pass very quickly because all they wanted was to be at home around the people and the things they loved. And I remember walking in there, and my aunt looked so peaceful. I mean, she really did. I mean, we say that around a lot of people, you know. Like, have you ever been to a funeral before where they're always like, oh, she looks so peaceful, and you're like thinking to yourself, she does? I don't think she looks real peaceful. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, like, my mom did not look peaceful. I mean, she didn't. And, you know, like, my mom at the end, you know, she was on dialysis because she passed away of kidney failure. You know, she was on dialysis. She was like, they had her all on these, all kinds of stuff, you know, and she looked bloated, and her body had just been through it. And I think that's why, you know, like my mom always said, don't ever get attached to my body. I'm just a bag of soul. And that was so helpful to me at that time. But anyway, my aunt really did look very, very peaceful. I mean, she just was like perched up against the back of the bed. Like, I mean, I had been in her bedroom before when, you know, because so we would like go over there for Thanksgiving or something, and like at around 5, my aunt always went to bed early. Like, she went to bed like insanely early. And so like at like 5, she would say, okay, you guys, she would come down. We'd be watching a movie or playing a game on Thanksgiving or something. She'd say, I'm going to bed now. I'm going to go read for a while. And she would put her pajamas on and get in bed, and she would just sit there and read for like 2 hours, and she would go to sleep, right? At like 4 or 5. And so I had been over there before, you know, when I was going to say goodbye to her. You know, she'd say, Peter, Alex, come say goodbye before you leave. So I would go say goodbye to her, and that's what it was like, you know. And I look at that and I think, well, what a blessing, you know. And there are so many people that I've lost. I think, like, when you grieve the loss of somebody in, like, a very tragic way, like, quickly, or where there's not, like, a lot of, like, answers, or, you know, in some horrible accident or something like that. Like, I had time to say to my mom the things I wanted to say. And that in itself is a blessing. And I have noticed, you know, with my friends that have lost people in very tragic ways, I think that it is tougher to grieve that. Because it's like there's unanswered questions, and there's things that you didn't get to. It stopped. So anyway, that's this weekend. And then Alex has a couple things he has to do this weekend as well. I don't have anything tomorrow. He has like something he's doing with a friend. I don't think I have anything tomorrow. We had to postpone the book club though, because the book club was supposed to be on at Sunday at 4. And so that's part of some of the stuff. And so I texted Mel, and we have like a little catch-up phone date tomorrow, but she said she was going to announce it on the Facebook thing and cancel it, which I really appreciate. And then I said, do you think we should just push this month to like when we cover the November book, so like do the October and the November book at the same time? And she said, yeah, I think that's wise. And I said, you're wise. And she said, I wasn't even being smart. I was like, I'm just joking with you. I need to laugh. I need to be lighthearted. Like, you know, that's like one of the things. You know, my mom used to like love comedies. Like, she loved that whole generation of, you know, Steve Martin, and my mom would love that show, Only Murders in the Building. You guys, you know, I haven't even finished that yet. And here I am trying to finish Wentworth, and I haven't finished I need to watch some shows this weekend. I think that's what I need to do. I've been so into the cozy mysteries, of which I did listen to some of my cozy mystery last night, but I just couldn't, like, this one's good. It's actually a really good one. It's about this guy that, in that same town of Normal, Kentucky, that, like, he escaped from jail, and a prison. He was, like, this murderer that escaped, and, like, but it's during this, like, Civil War reenactment thing, and it's spring. It, like, jumped from, like, Christmas to spring. That's the one thing about cozy mysteries that kind of crack me up. And she doesn't have another Christmas book for like 8 books. And I was like, oh my God, I need another Christmas one in like 4 books. I think if you're going to do cozy mysteries, like every 3rd or 4th book, you should do like a Halloween, a Christmas, a spring, and a summer. That's how I think it should be, cozy mysteries. But anyway, my mom loved like Steve Martin movies and Chevy Chase. Oh, she loved Chevy Chase. I was thinking about that the other day. He was kind of like one of my crushes when I was like growing up. I loved Chevy Chase. In the Fletch movies, oh my God, I thought he was so cute. So my mom loved Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, Bill Murray, Jim Belushi, John Belushi, but really, I'm like, I can never remember. Okay, it's John Belushi that passed. That was part of the Blues Brothers. I mean, she loved all of that. She loved those movies like, she loved Caddyshack. She loved all those stupid slapstick movies from like the 80s. What's the one where, I can't see who it is. The guy, it's at the camp, Meatballs. And like, he's like, it doesn't matter, or something like that. Do you guys remember that part? Anyway, she loved that movie. And I think my mom was somebody that, both of my parents have, like, one of the things that if you asked people that knew my mom and people that know my dad, well, first of all, hands down with my dad, the things you would hear about my dad from people that are like really close to him or have worked with him for years, they would say, if you asked him, like, what are the 2 things that you would always remember about him, they would say, first of all, okay, number 1, he has the most hilarious sense of humor in the entire world. Like, people have, like just crying tears think he should be a stand-up comedian. My dad really is that funny. But part of the problem is, like, anybody in his close circle is kind of, material that he uses for those jokes. So it's like a lot of like stories about my childhood, and aren't they funny, and haha, but I'm like, it's all like, you know, oh, like, but who's the one that, he's not making fun of me, but they're stories about, you know what I mean? And my stepmom as well. And but my dad is like hands down, I mean, my dad can tell a story like nobody's business. I mean, he really should have a podcast. He is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my entire life. And people just love him. And the other thing that they always say is your dad is one of the kindest people I've ever met. And like when he was, you know, in practice, like, I mean, I had people stop me all the time when they would see my last name, because there's just not a lot of Monns, you know, around, and they would ask me if my dad was Dr. Monn, and I would say, yeah. And they would say, your dad has hands down like the best bedside manner of like any doctor I've ever been to. You know, my dad, until he retired, like, you know, and was still in practice, was like doing house calls on people that couldn't leave their homes and stuff like that, you know? And he was always that person. I think my dad always had this small town mentality in a bigger city kind of thing, you know, when it came to medicine. I don't know. So like both of my parents have really taught me like laughing about stuff. And then I think, you know, being married to Alex, where like his family's had some crap in the last couple years, you know. It's like, I talk on here about, like, I can't, like, a lot of things are very personal that I don't share. You know, there's a lot on here that I just don't talk about that is family stuff. It just really is, whether it's to do with my dad or Caroline or what. I mean, there's just, it's family stuff, you know, it's personal, it's private, you know, and Alex's family has had, I just feel like on both sides of my family, like, my family and on Alex's family our parents and everybody is just like so strong and resilient. And I was talking about this in regards to Tati Westbrook today, because Tati, you know, said, I'm not going to cry on camera because I'm strong now and whatever. And I think like the message that like both of our families have taught us is that there's nothing wrong with crying. Like, cry, share your feelings, be who you are, but then also suit up and show up for life, right? Like, you still gotta, like, life goes on, right? Like, and that's the hard thing. And you know, like, that's the tragedy and the gift right there, is that life goes on. It's like, it's a tragedy because in the middle of feeling all this pain, in the middle of going through some of the toughest times of our lives, life goes on. Life does not care. You know, people are still going to work. They don't know what you're going through, you know? I can remember driving home from the hospital right after my mom passed away. And it was like, I remember noticing this about every small moment. Like being in the parking garage and like somebody said something to me and I just wanted to say, F you. You know, like, you don't know what I just went through. They were just being nice, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know. And it's just like, I was driving home, and it's like, I was like sitting at a stoplight next to somebody or something, and I looked over, and they were just kind of singing, and I was like, my mom just died. You know, it's like, people don't know, like, they just, I'm laughing because it's just like such a truism. I mean, when you're going through something, people do not know what you're going through, and we don't know what other people are going through, and so we should treat other people with the same, you know, like, tenderness and kindness that they might be going through the worst thing in their entire life, right? What I was going to say about my mom and dad, though, is that they really taught me about laughter and humor as an ultimate medicine, you know? But we don't know what people are going through in that moment. But I think, like, it's a gift and it's a tragedy in that when you're going through really, really tough times, or when I'm going through really tough times in my life, like, it's very apparent to me that life goes on. And I think the older that you get, especially, like, well, I mean, it's not the condition of my life now, and, you know, all the people that Alex works for and has worked for have just been really kind when we've had to, like, take time off for funerals or sickness or whatever. But, like, and the people that, I mean, when I worked in treatment, I can remember, like, my ex's dad died, and my supervisor, my ex's dad, I wasn't even married. I mean, this was just a boyfriend that I'd been with for, you know, several years. And I remember my supervisor called me in, and she said, how many days do you need? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, I mean, you need to go be with him. Like, how many days do you need? And I think I took like 4 days off. And she was like, go. She was like, I want you to take care of him and take care of yourself. And I mean, that was one of the things that was so fantastic about that organization. I mean, they always were like that, you know, like whatever I needed. And, but there was also an attitude there that I have never heard of. Well, I bet just from friends of mine that have worked other places, that like a friend that I worked with there, well, while I worked there, one of the co-counselors I worked with, her mother passed away. And one of my, it was like my person, co-counselor, and then another co-counselor of mine, her dad passed away. And both of the attitudes that our supervisor passed down to our team was, at the end of your life, you're not going to look at those moments and wish you had worked more. So go home and be with your family. Go home and take care of what you're going through right now. Be there, be present. Like, she wouldn't let us be there. Like, she was like, you need to go home. Like, you're not going to look back at the end of your life and be like, damn, I wish I had been there, you know? So she would send us home and be like, I don't care if you need 2 weeks. Just let me know how long you need. I'll work it out with HR, you know? Who's fantastic about that. And, you know, I have friends of mine that are like, well, it's my aunt, and even though she was like my mom, she was my aunt, and I don't even get 1 day for it, you know, for bereavement. And I'm like, that is just such crap at places, you know? But, like, hey, I guess it's the workforce, you know? It makes me very sad. So that's, like, the tragic part of it, is that life goes on all around you. You could be going through the worst thing of your entire life. I mean, I think sometimes, like, romantic breakups have been, like, so hard. Like, my last 2 romantic breakups, like, I didn't really think at the time, like, I didn't really know how to go on with my life without those people in my life, you know, honestly. And I can just remember just, like, with my first boyfriend, I was, like, really into, like, making a pot of coffee and doing the crossword every morning. And I can remember just, like, sitting there and just being, like, so out of it doing the crossword, you know? And, like, knowing that, like, it needed to come to an end because it wasn't working. And we were both, like, not happy, but not wanting it to end. And at the same time, like, and this was something that, like, I really got with my breakup of my ex. By the time that we broke up, I mean, we were really just really great friends. And he was probably one of the greatest friends I've ever had in my life. But unfortunately, when you break up with somebody in a romantic situation, and even if they're your great friend, like, I've never understood the hanging on of the relationships. Like, where people are like, yeah, we broke up, but we're just still best friends. Like, can somebody explain to me how that works? Because I really, and this is just me personally, okay? I know it works for a lot of people. It works for a lot of my friends. I have friends of mine, and my parents had friends that went through horrific divorces, but yet when the exes would come to town, they were such good friends and on such good levels that they would, like, stay with them and their new partner, you know, to see the kids and stuff. And I'm like, this is so weird. I don't get this, right? Like, that's never been me, because honestly, I don't really want to hear how like, I don't really want to have a conversation with my ex on how in love he is with somebody else, or, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, my friends and I have very open and real conversations with each other, and I just feel like with all of that in between a breakup, and I mean, I've had civil breakups. Like, my exes and I could text them tomorrow and they'd be like, hey, what's up? What do you need? Like, I mean, we're on very good terms, you know? But I don't reach out to them. I mean, with my last ex, I've had to, because our friend Scotty passed away. What was that, 2 summers ago? You know, and just with other stuff that's happened, like, when my aunt passed away, he reached out to me. My uncle passed away, because he was very close with my aunt and uncle. You know, and there's been, like, a couple moments that, like, Alex is like, we've run into his ex more, because when we used to do a lot of social stuff, he was, like, always out in that. And he's always very nice to us. You know, there's no reason to have that animosity. But at the same time, like, no, I don't really want to be your good friend. Like, I don't. I have enough people that I want to be friends with that I don't have time to spend time with, that I don't need to be friends with my ex. And that's the sad thing, right? Because, like, I can remember, like, I can remember standing there the moment that we broke up, and I can remember thinking to myself, I mean, this is such a weird thing to think, like, right on the heels of breaking up. Well, this was, okay, so things had not been good between us for a while. And when I mean not good, like, there was nothing that had happened. We just weren't happy anymore. Like, we were sharing space. I think we both knew that it was over, but we were just hanging on. you know? And I think that made us sadder than anything, because we were so happy for so long. And we were really, really enmeshed too, like, to the point of being unhealthy. Like, we did everything together. It was just like, we never... Like, if we weren't working, we were spending time together. And I can even remember, like, Tanya reminds me of this, like, when, like, I would come and stop by her house, like, he would call and be like, how much longer are you gonna be? Or should I come over there? Like, I didn't get to, like, hang out with Tanya, like, you know, but, I mean, he was always, like, right there. And there was nothing wrong with that. Like, we enjoyed that, right? But, like, I think that was part of it. And, you know, in retrospect, like, when people say, well, I felt like I was being smothered or I needed my freedom, I didn't feel that way. I don't know. I didn't. Like, it worked while it worked. But then when it was over, I was like, yeah, it didn't work. And then when I got with Alex and it kind of repeated the same patterns, I was like, yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Like, I think, like Alex made a comment early on when he said something about, like, I don't get a chance to miss you because we're together every day. And I was like, well, why would you want a chance to miss me? You know, and then later I thought, God, that's so true. And, you know, like, when we started, like, doing something separately, it was really hard at first. But now I'm like, you know, it's kind of fun to hear about my husband's day at the end of the day and be like, okay, you know, whatever. By the way, he did that axe throwing thing today as part of, like, his Christmas party with this one place that he worked. His, like, work things are so funny with Christmas parties. They have, like, now they do, like, 3-day things. They have, like, the leadership group, and then they have this group, and then they have, like, the spouse group. And so it's like, so today they did, like, this axe throwing thing, which is, like, really big here in Indiana. I don't know if it's big other places, but he had a really good time doing that. And then he went and hung out with some girlfriends at this ale emporium where he used to work with these girls, and they're, like, some of his really best friends. But, you know, like, back in the day, like, I would have been there and also be sitting there, like, really, like, after the first hour being like, I'm ready to go, you know? And today I had a blast, like, seeing Tanya and doing my own thing, and then we meet up and we do stuff at other times, and it feels so much healthier. I don't even know how to explain it. It feels so much healthier, you know? But then the flip side to that, life goes on. That's the tragic part. But the positive side is that life does go on, you know? And that at some point what you realize is life goes on. I mean, it's really no deeper than that. It's just kind of like, whether you want it to or not, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, whether you want to stay in the pain, because sometimes we choose to stay in the pain. I know I've chosen to stay in the pain a lot. And I think one of the things that's most important in talking about grieving, I wanted to say this in my Peterisms video today and I forgot, because I did a grieving, I read a grieving meditation. But one of the things that I think is so important to talk about with grieving, and I say this a lot in my videos, so I know, you know, you guys know this, but, and it's not an original concept, that grieving isn't just about losing somebody or a pet, you know? It can be grieving the loss of a relationship, grieving the loss of a friendship. And that can not mean, like, breaking up with that person. That can mean that person moved away. Or that person is like, I mean, I've felt this before when they've gotten a boyfriend or a girlfriend, then I don't see them as much anymore, you know? Or, like, they're real involved with kids stuff, and so you never see them as much as you used to, and you might be grieving the loss of what that relationship was like at one point. Or I think parents grieve the loss of their kids going off to college. I think that is a really big one that we don't talk about, that I've had so many of my friends go through. I think grieving, I just had a friend of mine whose son, he's going to school locally, but he moved into his own apartment about 15 minutes from her house, and I swear to God, I thought we were going to have to check her into the hospital. I mean, like, she really was like, I go into his room every single night, and I was like, oh my God, this makes me so sad. This is kind of like my mom, you know? And she was like, I don't know why we got this big house, and now we're so lonely and everything like that. Oh, the battery is about to die. Of course, as I'm getting ready to get to a place where there's no place to pull over. Hold on a second. This is a gas station for semis right here. Gain Titan Fuel. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. It is so windy. The trees are blowing. They're over there too. Gosh. But I think it's important to make sure that we think of grief in that way, right? In that any change, major change in our life, I mean, that can be like, I think one of the things my mom really grieved was me being a little kid. I think as I got older and didn't want to hang out, she'd say, oh, you don't want to hang out with old mom anymore, whatever. And she'd laugh and say, I miss the days that you were, running around on Easter, looking for the Easter bunny with your, khaki pants on and your Madras tie and stuff, and I think that was really hard for her. And I just think that, like, we talk about grief and we always think it means like somebody's died or a pet's died or whatever, but there's so much more grief that we go through, and I think if we don't acknowledge it as true grief, then we're not really feeling like what we're really going, we're not really acknowledging what we're really going through, in life. Because I think it is important to acknowledge that I'm grieving that, and to really look at, wow, like, I miss how this friendship used to be, Like, I've had friends of mine that'll call me and I'll be like, how are you doing? They're like, I'm just not doing very well. I'm like, well, what's wrong? And they're like, it's like, well, I used to, go with my girlfriends every Wednesday night to have a glass of wine or, whatever, and we just don't ever do that anymore, and I feel like I don't, I've had a lot of friends that have said stuff like that to me, It's hard. I think, like, when I was working in treatment, I don't know what that sound is, but I hear, like, water. I do hear water in this car. It's the weirdest thing. Anyway, about 3 years before I left, it was like every couple months somebody would leave for my team. To the point where it was like all new people and me. And maybe one or two older people that had been besides my supervisor. To a point where, like, the entire foundation, philosophy, feeling of our team had changed, And I had known for a while, I was like, it's time for me to move on. Like, it just was that, first of all, like I talked about the other day, like, I was becoming immune, I think, to a lot of the really sad situations. But our team completely changed. And I would have friends of mine that had gone and done other things. I had so many friends of mine that, like, left and, like, completely did something else. And I was like, I want to see what else is out there, But I think, like, for me, like, I really grieved the loss of, because every day that I would walk in there, especially for the last year, I was walking into a new place, a new workplace, because it wasn't, like, so much had changed, right? Like, and mostly it's like the people that left, it was, like, different. And they all ate lunch together, and I would sit in there and stuff, but it was just like, I didn't know them, and, like, they had all started kind of at the same time, and those of us that had been together forever, like, they were gone, and it just felt different, and I think I really grieved that, Grief is a weird thing. When people say to you, like, don't rush grief or grief for as long as you need to. Those things are true, but I think sometimes, like, the number one question is, I don't even know how to grieve. Like, people will reach out to me and say, like, I lost my mom or I lost my dad. Like, I don't even know the first thing about what I'm supposed to feel. Well, it's okay. And there's no rules to grieving. I always just tell people, allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and don't make any excuses for it and don't feel bad for it. Don't, like, if you start crying and you're in a work meeting, don't look at everybody, I'm sorry. Don't apologize for it. stand up and say, I need to take a couple moments. And I think that's how we teach people to grieve, you know? By just, you know, being ourselves and allowing ourselves to feel that, you know, I can just remember like pulling over to the side of the road because a song would come on, and I said the word ghostly earlier, I think maybe last night or I don't know, when I was talking about the Joni Mitchell Both Sides Now song, but I meant to say haunting is what I meant to say. Ghostly. But it's like that song to me, like, always, like, reminds me of my mom. I also listened to it as a little kid with my parents, but, like, as I've gotten older, I've, like, loved that song. The road is closed up here. Okay, well, where do I want to go? It's, like, straight off closed, right in the middle of the road. I wonder if they're having, like, a picnic or something tomorrow. And that says, do not enter, and this is one way. So we're gonna go this way. I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone and I can't get out, is how I feel. Anyway, but you know, like, just as an example, like, if that song came on, you know, after my mom had passed away, I would be like, I want to see what that is down there, but I don't want to get stuck down there, so I would start, you know, crying, and I would just, like, pull over to the side of the road. I would pull over into, like, you know, a strip mall or whatever, and I would just sit there, and I would just sit like this. And I can remember just, like, sitting there and listening to music and just bawling. And just allowing myself, you guys probably can hear that water too, and just allowing myself to feel my feelings and feel my emotions, you know? And then, like, when I kind of had composed myself a little bit, I pulled out, you know, and kept on going. And the parking lot. Pulled out of the parking lot. And allowed myself to just continue to process and feel my emotions. I think I was so numb for so long. Like, it's such a surreal feeling that I didn't even know. But that's what I was going to say about my ex. Like, I think one of the reasons why, like, romantic breakups are so hard is, like, I feel like I don't even know how to say this. I literally saw this feeling or this emotion, like, happen. Like, almost like it was tactile. Like, I almost saw it happen in front of me. Like, I don't even really know how to explain that, you know? Like that movie Ghost, where all of a sudden she can, like, see his hands, like, you know, or whatever. It's like, or not his hands, but, like, you know, him touching things and moving things and whatever. But, like, I could see the conversation that we had, you know, like, while, I mean, it literally happened this quick. And the breakup. And I can remember just seeing his face change. And literally, in probably that 3 to 8 seconds, I'm just guessing, I don't know, that 3 to 8 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever, that I saw his response, which we both knew where we were, right? I saw in that moment that my best friend left the room. My best friend that I had for 6+ years, the person I shared everything with, the person I felt like I would be around for the rest of my life, left the room. Never to come back. That friendship was over. Like, it was gone in that quick. And I've said this a lot to people just going through that. I think the hardest thing is, in that moment that you break up, what you realize is, I don't know you anymore and you're not in my life. Like, that is really, really, really hard, right? And I say that like it was a civil breakup, but it wasn't like we went over and hugged each other and whatever. I mean, he, like, left. He was like, I gotta get out of here. Like, I can't do this. And then later was like, called me and asked me to get him a hotel room because he was like, he's like bawling on the phone. I mean, that was even more sad, right? Like, he was like, you always book all the hotel rooms. I don't know how to do that. Can you give me a hotel room? And so it just was like that, you know, it was hard. It was hard. Like, and I think, like, going from what my life was like before and then going to that was so difficult, you know? I think, like, even in marriage counseling with Alex and I, like, grieving kind of the marriage that, like, we had before we walked in there, and then having this new marriage, which was like rebirth, you know, which our counselor was like, listen, like, when you get done with marriage counseling, like, you're not gonna be going back to the marriage that you had before. Like, it's not like we're repairing that old marriage. Like, we're defining a new marriage where you guys are both safe. And whenever I say that to people, they're always like, open marriage? I'm like, no, we're very monogamous. It's not about that. But living, you know, like, where there are healthy boundaries in how you speak to one another and how you communicate, and how, you know, all those words of affirmations and the 12 points of intimacy and all those kinds of things, you know? And, so I think that's important to know. But I think for a long time, I was kind of like clinging on. But I am that person that holds on, you know, till kind of like the bitter end. I always do that with everything in my life, you know. I have such issues with attachments, like, I mean, everything when I was a kid. I mean, obviously, it's why I can't clean up this damn basement, you know? And at this point, that's not attachments, that's just laziness. It just truly is. I just walk down there and I'm like, ugh, I don't even want to look at you over there. I have had so many people offer to help me on that basement, which I should be really grateful for, right? I'm like, you're not getting to see that basement, so we can forget about that. Maybe that will be my... I don't even want to say it. I was going to say, maybe that'll be my winter project, that I'll have that done by spring. I always get these greatest ideas, right, when I drive around late at night. But then the next morning, like, if I said it to Alex and he said, yeah, what about that winter project of yours where you're going to clean out that basement? I'd be like, don't throw that into my face. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, I want to talk about something for those of you that I know stay till the very end, because I'm about to get off here in just a second, because I want to listen to a little bit of my cozy mystery and then go home and watch Wentworth. And it's already 4:04 in the morning, so but I might have to finish Wentworth tomorrow. But I wanted to say, you guys know how much I love the Vloggerinos, right? If you're not a Vloggerino, the Vloggerinos is a Facebook group that Nicole and Troy and Gemma have created for all the people that watch my vlog. And it's just a place for you guys to get together, okay? And I'm just gonna say this now. I will put out the official rules, okay? And the place makes me so happy. I don't think you guys have any idea. I literally read every post over there, okay? I love Facebook. I love the True Crime Book Club group as well, but I love Facebook. And, but getting on there makes me so happy, I can't even explain it. I just don't like Facebook because I feel like, I don't know. Like, I have some friends of mine that literally post every 15 minutes. And they're like, oh, my beautiful flowers in the backyard. And, you know, like this. And I'm just like, and then I have other people that I know that, like, just stir up stuff to, like, just to stir up stuff. And I'm like, why are you so unhappy in your life? So I just don't love the Facebook, right? And it's totally our generation too, like, isn't it? But I have to say, the Vloggerinos, Peter Monn's Vloggerinos has really changed, and it's VLOGERINOS, for those of you that want to find it. It's really changed just kind of my attitude of getting on Facebook, and I get on there every day and I read all the posts and stuff like that. So I wanted to do something special for the Vloggerinos, okay, because they've been so nice, and because I think it's a community for you guys, not for me, right? And I love it over there. And I think what I love is that, I don't know how to explain it, okay? It's like if I went somewhere, right? And, like, I spoke, in this like convention center. And it was like, I spoke and told stories over like 2 hours, but then like afterwards there would be like this 4-hour like get to know each other. And you guys would like meet each other and exchange numbers and then like be friends, all because you came to hear my stories, right? So like the group has nothing to do with me. I mean, Troy posts every day, like my vlog and my Peter Does Stuff channel videos and a couple other videos and stuff, which I really appreciate. Thank you, Troy. But it's really not discussions about me. Or it'll be like, hey, I've listened to Peter for 3+ years. I live here, I live there, blah, 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 whatever. Or like, did anybody notice, like, this is the mentions that I get in there. Did anybody notice when Peter said this? Like, do you guys know what he's talking about? Or like Peter's vlog was really sad tonight, things like that. And all of that commentary makes me really, really happy. I appreciate it. But what makes me even happier is when I read the back and forth between people that it has literally nothing to do with me whatsoever. It's like somebody posts a picture of their dog and then they're like, oh, like this is my dog, you know, sugar, sweetie, or something, honey, pie, honey. How's that song go? Sugar pie, honey buns. That's not the song, is it? But you know what I'm saying. And they post pictures and, you know, I love that kind of stuff. And it just makes me so happy. So I was like, okay. And these are people that know that I love 2 things, right? Cozies and Christmas. So I am going to run a little old-fashioned Christmas decorating thing, okay? And if you don't celebrate Christmas, whatever you celebrate, feel free to enter as well. And that could also be just a winter cozy themed kind of deal, right? Now, I am not starting this yet. I'm just announcing this to get you guys thinking, get your wheels turning, okay? And I am going to probably pick, I haven't decided yet, but like a first, second, and third is probably what I'll do. And I was going to have the moderators of the group vote and pick, but I think I'm just going to do it because I want to have some fun doing it, honestly. Maybe I'll ask them to like, well, I want them to be able to participate in it too, you know? So, and listen, there will be no favorites, okay? I'm gonna be ruthless on this voting, all right? But here's the deal. It doesn't have to be like a whole front porch. It doesn't have to be an entire room. It could be a mantle. It could be a corner. It could be a bookshelf. It could be just a kitchen counter with coffee, you know? Of like, this is my cozy coffee corner. Or it could be, I don't know, like anything. Like, think outside the box. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, it could be wintry. I've already seen people post pictures over there of like, I can't remember who it was, but they said that they posted a picture and said that they're in a smaller space than they usually are. I think they're like in a studio apartment now, but they're like, I still want to decorate and have my place be cozy this year. See, that's the kind of way we want to think, right? That we can take the space that we're living in and we can make it make us happy. Like, we can enjoy whatever space we're in. I can't remember where I was. I talked about it on here. Well, I talked about somebody that had like an entire coffee bar, which I was really jealous of. But we were at somebody's house, and this is where Alex got the idea to like hang the mugs for me and stuff. They had like an entire corner where there was like all of like their coffee stuff, like the coffee mugs, the Keurig, the coffee maker, and I was like, I want a coffee corner. And that's where I started that. So it's like, you guys, you could do the same thing. Well, I want to make mine even like more cozier over there. But, you know, whatever you want to do, just think of it of a way that you could make something in your, but it is like cozy, okay? And if you don't want to do cozy, I'm sorry, stay till the next contest when maybe we'll do minimalist modern or something. But this is cozy, okay? Because y'all know I love cozy and I love Christmas. Now, don't feel like you can't do a whole front porch. Don't feel like this can't be your Christmas tree and your corn. Hey, listen, okay? And you can put several pictures up, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it in the Vloggerinos Facebook group, and then underneath it, y'all can put your pictures, okay? See, and then I'm going to go in there and that'll be real easy for me to vote. Now, I got several. I asked on there what would be good, like I wanted suggestions and what would be good ideas for awards for the Christmas Cozy contest. And people said video calls. People said Christmas cards, signed Christmas card. I think you guys are so nice. It's like, I talked about this the other night, but it's like, I was thinking like a $50 gift card to Amazon, and people are like, how about a handwritten card? And I'm like, okay, like that's real easy, you know what I mean? People said fans, people said all different kinds of stuff. So, favorite cozy mystery book, on and on and on. So I have really thought long and hard about the awards that I'm giving, okay? And it'll probably be a tier system, okay? Like first grand place gets all of this, right? Like it'll probably be like, I'm just saying, like maybe like a mix of some of my favorite things. And then maybe it'll be like a gift card. And then maybe like a video call or something like that. Although I feel so stupid doing a video call, but a lot of people mention it. So, and like a Christmas card. Then maybe the next one, second place, will get like a gift card, a video call, and then like a card. And then maybe third place will just get like a video call or something like that. We'll see. I don't know. Okay. So, well, how does that sound to you guys? Does that sound good? I'm real excited about it. That was my big announcement. Did I say that last night when I put big announcement in my video? I think I said I was doing a Christmas contest, but I don't know if I said that or not. But anyway, I'm really, really excited about doing that. So that will be, I think I'm going to announce that probably the day after Thanksgiving. So Black Friday. And I'll probably run it for 2 weeks. Oh shoot, you know what I wonder? Well, if you don't get it in time for Christmas, is everybody be okay with that? I mean, the phone call, obviously, and the card I can do, but like, oh, the other thing is, you guys are gonna kill me. Well, the video call, if you are I'll make it, well, it's so hard to send a big box of stuff out of the country and get it on there on time. So somehow I'm gonna have to do this so that like if you're international, you can win like the second and the third one, but like you can't win the grand prize. Does that make sense? I hate doing it that way, but I want people that are international still to have the option to win like a video call or like a Christmas card or something like that, even though, or a gift card or whatever, that it'll take forever. But I don't. And feel free to book cameos for the holidays too. I'm starting to take cameo. You can buy them now and save them for later, okay? I actually have a couple that I need to do. Yeah, so, but definitely the video call I could do. Or maybe I could like do door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, and then like first prize gets to pick the thing, second prize gets to pick the thing, and third prize, you know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll do something like that. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But anyway, I'm really excited about that because then I get to see all of your cozy Christmas ideas and winter ideas. And it'll get me even more excited about Christmas. My pillows for the front porch came today. I did not get to putting them together though yet. So I'm really excited about that. And because I have to put like the covers on the actual pillows. And then I'm going to put them out there. I've got to bring in some stuff from the front porch. Like I had the blanket out there that I bought from Costco. And I still have 3 little pumpkins. And the fern. I have to figure out what to do with the fern. So anyway, I may give the fern to my neighbor because she's got a lot of indoor plants. And I might ask her if she could just like watch it through the winter, and then I could, you know. Anyway. Well, all right, you guys, listen, I'm going to get off here now. So if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you are having a magically amazing Saturday. I love you guys so much. Let me know if you're excited about the Cozy Christmas contest in the comment section below. And if it goes well, then it will be an annual thing that we'll do every year. Get the word out about the vlog. You need to start telling everybody. You need to listen to Peter's vlog. It's like a podcast. He posts literally every single day. Every single day. Only if you like it. Only if you like it. If you don't, then you don't ever feel the pressure. You must. You must. No, I'm joking. Anyway, now in honor of the Cozy Christmas contest, put your favorite Christmas or winter, I don't know what a cozy emoji would be, or cozy emoji in the comment, a cozy Christmas or winter emoji in the comment section below. And I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Wait, how do I do it? I forgot. Love you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! I remembered. Love ya! I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Love ya!